On that day, Qin Yan had just finished his practice and was covered in sweat and a strange smell. He was preparing to clean himself up. When he opened the bathroom door, he was hit by a soft and delicate body. "Mrs. Bliff, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were inside." Qin Yan awkwardly scratched his head. "It's okay, Xiaoyan. You're here to take a shower." Alright, do you want to schedule a meeting together after the shower?" "Well. Okay. Now it's okay." Qin Yan smiled and picked up Mrs. Bu, then turned around and walked into the bathroom. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Saiyan Carlos. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The vast and boundless universe, encompassing everything, mysterious and unpredictable, hides countless great fears. The deep space is dotted with stars, the vast Milky Way, and the dazzling stars create infinite imagination and longing. In an unknown cosmic galaxy cluster, a crimson planet stands tall among them. Vegeta Planet. A renowned planet that resounds throughout the entire universe. The homeland and headquarters of the Saiyan people. In fact, the true homeland of the Saiyan people is the planet Sharada, but it was destroyed due to internal conflicts and wars. Afterwards, the Saiyan people migrated to other planets for survival and development. After countless years, the Saiyan people finally found a relatively satisfactory and habitable planet. The entire Saiyan tribe migrated and eventually arrived on the planet of Prant. The planet Plant is actually the predecessor of the planet Vegeta. Moreover, the Saiyas were not the indigenous people of the planet Plant, the true indigenous people were the Zovu people. After the arrival of the Saiyan people, they lived on the planet together with the Zofulu people for a period of time. But as time passed, the ambitions of the Saiyan people gradually exposed, and they were no longer satisfied with the status quo and wanted to monopolize the entire planet. So the Fong of Evil finally reached out to the Zofulu people, launching a full-scale war against the Zofulu people for no reason. Although the Zofulu people are far ahead of the Saiyan people in terms of technological strength, the Saiyan people have rough skin and thick flesh, and their combat effectiveness is extremely strong. Moreover, the Saiyan people can transform into great apes, and their combat power increases tenfold. It was originally a battle with vastly different forces, and under the overwhelming pressure of this absolutely powerful force, there is no doubt that it was a massacre of ants. A unilateral war of extermination. Faced with the savage and powerful Saiyan people, the Zofulu people were defeated and eventually eliminated. The Saiyans occupied the entire planet. Time passes, I don't know how many years will come. Later, the king of the Saiyan tribe, King Vegeta, renamed the planet of Plant as Vegeta, becoming the new homeland of the Saiyan people. At this moment, something seems to have happened on the planet Vegeta and in the palace of Vegeta, causing quite a stir. A large number of cosmonauts and Saiyans rushed to the palace. In an incredibly spacious room, rows of neatly arranged oval-shaped cabins are displayed. Through the special protective glass specially designed for the cabins, one can see beautiful babies stored inside. Their faces are calm and they sleep peacefully. These young babies almost all have one thing in common, which is that they all have tails similar to those of apes. That's right, this is also one of the unique beauties of the Saiyan people, and the children inside the cabin are all Saiyan babies. And this should be the baby culture room for the Saiyan people, specifically designed to cultivate newborn Saiyan babies. All newborn Saiyan babies will stay here for a period of time. Here, we gather all kinds of resources and use high-tech methods to comprehensively cultivate babies, hoping to cultivate even more powerful Saiyan warriors, omnipotent warriors, and even legendary Super Saiyan people. In the depths of the baby training room, in a corner. In an inconspicuous and ordinary cultivation chamber. At this moment, there is a Saiyan baby who seems to be showing some uniqueness. He was lying on all fours on the protective glass of the cultivation chamber, with the elephant swaying restlessly under his crotch. His big copper bell-like eyes were now looking around, scrutinizing everything inside and outside the chamber, his brows furrowed, as if he was thinking about something. This object is the protagonist of our book, Qin Yan. Looking at the rows of baby incubators outside the glass window, each with its beautiful Saiyan babies, Qin Yan still felt incredible and immersed in an immense shock. 6 days ago. Qin Yan woke up from his sleep to find that he had become a baby. He quickly reached out to touch his crotch and found that his elephant was still there. He breathed a sigh of relief. But then he fumbled for something furry again, to the point where he pulled hard, causing himself to fall into a somersault and be stunned on the spot. After regaining his senses, Qin Yan was certain that he had actually crossed over, and even crossed over to the world of Dragon Ball, which is a world of devastating combat power. Qin Yan was puzzled as to why he stumbled across the world of Dragon Ball in a daze. In his past life, he was also an ambitious young man. At the young age of 24, his salary reached 25,000, which was inseparable from his hard work every day from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. From then on, he added a fried egg to every meal of noodles, which was something that I couldn't even imagine before. He remembers the last memory of an accident in his past life, which was the day he went home from work as usual, ate and drank enough, and then relived the Dragon Ball storyline for 3 hours before going to bed. At night, I was learning the professional skills and techniques of Sunshine Country's workplace master, and then I rested contentedly under the hard guidance of my workplace sister. I didn't expect to cross over after waking up. What a stroke of fate. Immediately, both scared and grateful, shocked and excited. I didn't expect to die quietly overnight, and when I think back, I feel scared. I am extremely grateful that I did not actually die, but instead traveled through time, feeling extremely shocked and having a chance to start over again. Various emotions intertwined in his heart, making Qin Yan's mood unbearable. But later on, Qin Yan was even more excited because he arrived at the Dragon Ball world, feeling extremely excited. Because he was a Dragon Ball fan in his past life, he has read various Dragon Ball anime novels countless times. Even after watching repeatedly, I still don't feel bored. Qin Yan likes martial arts, with passionate fighting scenes and an immense longing for flying and escaping. I once fantasized about a majestic scene where I roamed the starry sky, stepped on the Milky Way, and wielded my fists to conquer the world. I didn't expect it to finally come true in this life. Qin Yan, who had the bloodline of the Saiyan people, knew it and took off directly from the spot. As long as you find a place to roll yourself up, work hard to cultivate, stay for 10 or 20 years, and achieve great martial arts skills, then go out of the mountain. When the time comes, the Universe Emperor Frisha, the artificial human Shalu, and the evil representative of 5 million years, the demon Buo, will all be easily defeated with one punch. The only thing that made him a little afraid was those supreme gods and angels. However, thinking about these things at this moment is a bit far-fetched. The top priority is to quickly understand the current situation and one's own situation in order to come up with action plans that are beneficial to oneself. So for the past few days, Qin Yan has been carefully observing every environment around him and extracting some useful information. Through these days of observation, Qin Yan has gained some understanding of his own situation. Carlos is the name of his own Saiyan, his father Benes, and his mother Melos. 3.5 years old, combat effectiveness 5 points. These were all learned by Qin Yan from the baby information screen in the training cabin. Although he only has 5 points of combat power, Qin Yan, who possesses the bloodline of the Saiyan people, is not at all panicked. Unfortunately, he still hasn't grasped the specific timeline, which has disappointed him a bit. The timing is crucial, as based on the current situation, it seems that the planet Vegeta has not yet been destroyed, and the Saiyan people have been working under Fraser for a long time. This indicates that the planet Vegeta may be destroyed at any time. I remember watching Dragon Ball anime in my past life, and according to the information I learned, the destruction of the planet Vegeta occurred in the year 737 Aegis, 5 years after Vegeta's birth, shortly after the birth of Carrot. If that were the case, the current Vegeta planet would be a time bomb that could explode at any time. Qin Yan, who couldn't grasp the specific timeline, was a bit impatient at the moment because it was related to his rare life safety. If he died in a confused way, it would not be worth the loss. However, there is still good news that while inheriting the memories of its predecessor, this body was input into the depths of the Saiyan people's minds through high-tech means, along with a mission. That was because he was about to be sent to another planet, which relieved Qin Yan, but at the same time, there was a hint of concern. The concern was that his current child, who was only 3.5 years old, did not have very high combat effectiveness. Even if he was sent to another planet, the early survival rate was still very low. However, for staying on the time bomb of the planet Vegeta, leaving was definitely the best choice. Staying is definitely waiting for death, and it's also difficult to show any mercy under the watchful eyes of the Saints and Frisha. Leaving may still have a glimmer of hope. Therefore, Qin Yan's mood at this moment is somewhat anxious. Sigh. I feel a bit helpless. The Saiyan people are cruel, belligerent, and cold-blooded. The Saiyan people place great emphasis on the nobility of appearance and bloodline, thus forming a hierarchical system within the Saiyan people. Lower-level Saiyan warriors, intermediate Saiyan warriors, and superior Saiyan warriors. In the Saiyan tribe, the vast majority of Saiyan people are low-level warriors, with only a few dozen intermediate warriors and only 2 superior warriors, namely King Vegeta and Vegeta. It is unclear whether Vegeta was born or not. Strictly speaking, Vegeta is an elite warrior and genius warrior belonging to the Saiyan people, because he was born with extremely high combat power, reaching a terrifying 1000 points of combat power. In addition, he has royal lineage and is known as the hope of the Saiyan people. He is proud of his past and surpasses the current Saiyan family, possessing the talent of a Super Saiyan. Every time a Saiyan baby is born, they undergo qualification testing, which will determine their future fate and status within the Saiyan community. P.S. Welcome to Yenzu de Xiaobei and Ife Beauty to read and appreciate. The new book is set sail, and everyone is willing to support and bear the burden. Chapter 2. System Awakening. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Newborn Saiyan babies with combat power testing exceeding 100 points, combined with those with noble bloodline, will be defined as superior Saiyan warriors. In the future, their combat power can grow to over 8,000 points, making them capable of becoming superior Saiyan warriors who look down upon the universe. Newborn Saiyan babies with combat effectiveness testing between 50 and 100 points are intermediate Saiyan people and the backbone of the Saiyan family. They are the focus of training, and their future combat effectiveness is at least 3,000 points, up to 8,000 points. It is difficult to break through the boundaries. As for those Saiyan babies with combat power below 50 at birth, they are defined as lower-level Saiyan people. They are the least favored group of Saiyan people, disliked by their peers, superior children, and adult warriors. What awaits them is the fate of being exiled to the planet. Of course, not all lower-level Saiyan babies will be exiled to other planets. If all lower-level Saiyan babies were exiled, then there would be very few Saiyan people left. This is related to this high-tech training module, where every newborn Saiyan baby is nurtured and observed for 3 years. If their combat power increases during these 3 years and their lower-level qualifications reach intermediate or above, they will also be exempt from exile. But for someone like Qin Yan, their combat power is in the single digits at birth, and after 3 years of training, their combat power is still in the single digits. It is safe to be abandoned because in the eyes of the Saiyan people, even if they are trained for another 10 or 8 years, they may not reach the level of superior qualifications. The question of whether to exile newborn lower-level Saiyan babies is related to the work of the Saiyan people. As the number 1 lackey under Fraser's command, he has always been engaged in activities such as killing and setting fires, seizing and conquering other people's homes. The Saiyan people claim to be the strongest fighting nation in the universe and have always held themselves high and never looked down upon others. They search for planets with good environments and resources throughout the universe. Once found, eliminate all the intelligent civilizations living on the planet. Selling the planet at a high price to aliens who want to find a place to live on it is the job of the Saiyas. Those planets with high combat capabilities are occupied by direct attacks from adult Saiyan warriors. Low combat ability, resource scarcity, and harsh living environment on lower-level planets, send those lower-level Saiyan children to destroy them. And Qin Yan's next target planet is a planet called Prodaranafalk. A planet very far away from the planet Vegeta. Due to its remote location in the universe, coupled with the planet's relatively barren resources, low level of civilization development, and weak combat effectiveness of species on the planet, the development value of this planet for the Saiyan people is not very high. There is no need to send real adult soldiers to conquer, just send Saiyan babies with low combat effectiveness like Qin Yan. Step on it. Step on it. Step on it. As Qin Yan pondered, a faint sound of footsteps echoed from far to near. Through the high-tech glass cover of the cultivation module, Qin Yan saw two mischievous cosmic beings slowly approaching him. Are you here to see yourself off? Qin Yan couldn't help but think. Hurry up. As the Saiyan people gather in the palace, let's hurry and send that little ancestor away to complete the Saiyan mission, said a bearded cosmologist cautiously. Is it really okay for us to behave like this? What if that woman launches a storm and slaps us both afterwards? The voice of another green-faced, black-spotted toad-headed cosmologist sounded, speaking with a hint of fear and hindrance, as if they were about to face a celestial giant. Calm down, Gu-era. If that woman takes responsibility afterwards, we can just push it to the Saiyan people. This has already violated the rules, and we are only following the Saiyan people's rules and reasoning. We have the upper hand in this wave. Although the bearded cosmologist said so, there was not much confidence in their words, indicating some concern. Saturn. It makes sense, Gao. Brother Fake Squid is truly the wise leader of our workshop. My admiration for you is like a flowing river, continuous, and uncontrollable flood of stars. It's really an honor for me to work with you in this workshop. Come back and have a great meal of frog hot pot to show my respect to you. Ha ha ha. Where and where? It's just a promotion from industry insiders. It's your Gu-era brother, I didn't see it. I didn't expect you to look like a fierce man on weekdays, and I didn't expect your literary talent to be so incredible. It's my brother who took a blind eye, and I'm here to compensate you. The big bearded cosmologist was praised by the toad-headed cosmologist, and his mood suddenly became a bit ethereal. While praising him, he also did not forget to elevate his status. After listening, the toad-headed cosmologist happily scratched his head, and the strand of green leaves on his head swayed wildly, forgetting everything. The two completely forgot the last trace of fear in their hearts. Keep moving forward happily. Just now, news came from the palace that King Vegeta's son was born smoothly, and he was tested with a combat power of up to 1,000 points as soon as he was born, which is terrifying. At this moment, Gu-era suddenly said. Vegeta is born. This sentence made Qin Yan's heart skip a beat, his eyes brighten, and he clearly knew what time it was now. From their conversation, Qin Yan estimated that it should have appeared at this time in the year 732 of AG, and if there were no accidents, it was only 5 years before the destruction of the planet Vegeta. Because Vegeta Xing was born in AG 732, at the age of 5, shortly after Goku was born, the planet Vegeta was destroyed by Frisha. This news actually breathed a sigh of relief for Qin Yan. Although time is still tight, it is enough to cope with the recent situation. The next step is to wait and leave the planet Vegeta, and then develop a wave outside. It's best to find a way to go to Earth. Although the Earth's combat effectiveness is not high, it is relatively safer because of this, and one can also learn martial arts experience and methods for controlling qi. Developing the earth is definitely a good choice. Alternatively, one can choose to go to the Nemesis Star, where the Elder can directly tap into their potential, practice hard for a period of time, and then use the Dragon Ball to make a wish wave. The combat effectiveness in this direction has also improved rapidly. Even if we cannot fight against Fraser in 5 years, there should be no problem in self-protection in the universe. As Qin Yan pondered which direction to pursue in the future, those two cosmic beings also came to Qin Yan's training module. "That's him, Carlos' ancestor. Prepare and send him away immediately," said Fake Squid. "It seems that there is also a Saiyan child who needs to be sent over, right? Well, for both of them, that one is already on the launch pad, and we should quickly send this little ancestor over." "Okay, buddy." After speaking, the two of them operated the machine together. In no time, Qin Yan was sent to a mini-circular spacecraft and traveled along the orbital channel towards the launch pad. This moment has finally arrived. Qin Yan couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation as he looked at the constantly moving spacecraft. At this moment, Fake Squid and Gu Era on the console looked at Qin Yan, who had already reached the launch pad. After they exchanged a glance, Fake Squid pressed the launch button. Suddenly, a mechanical sound sounded doo-doo-doo-doo. The spacecraft is ready for launch. Destination: Prodaranafalk planet. Countdown 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1 launch. Immediately, two spacecraft slowly took off and their speed gradually increased. After a while, Qin Yan had reached high altitude and dropped the spaceship's protective cover. He saw a magnificent palace in the distance, which should be the palace of King Vegeta. At this moment, there were cheers and blessings in the palace of Vegeta, and the Saiyan people on the planet of Vegeta gathered here to witness the charm of the newborn prince. Suddenly, a female Saya in the corner felt something and her face changed. She quickly dodged and left the palace. Gazing at the gradually fading Vegeta palace, Qin Yan suddenly saw the figure of Yu Dao and flew towards him at lightning speed. When the two of them could see clearly, the spaceship had already accelerated its speed and shot into the sky at lightning speed. At the last moment, Qin Yan saw clearly that she was a heroic woman, a familiar figure in her original memory, and also Qin Yan's mother in this lifetime. Damn it! These two damn guys took advantage of this to secretly send away their own children. The suddenly arrived figure, looking at the distant spaceship, couldn't catch up and said angrily. She knew that this moment would come sooner or later, and powerless, she could only silently gaze at the distant figure, with endless worries, hopes, and prayers in her eyes. When the spaceship completely disappeared from view, Morosi still couldn't come to her senses for a long time. Suddenly, she thought of something and suddenly came to her senses. Her gaze was fixed on the direction of the control console with a lifeless gaze, and at this moment, Morosi's heart was filled with anger. So he angrily headed straight for the control console. At this time, inside the spacecraft launch console. Looking at the spaceship disappearing into the sky, the astronaut Fake Squid felt as if he had forgotten something. He tried to recall it clearly and vaguely, feeling like the words were on his lips, but he couldn't speak. Fake Squid, how come Carlos is naked? Gu Era looked up at the mini spaceship that had passed away and suddenly said. Your sister, haven't you put on combat protective clothing for him? That female Saiyan has repeatedly told her that even if she wants to send her son away, she must put on the best combat protective clothing for him. Upon hearing Gu Era's words, Fake Jew suddenly woke up and turned to confront Gu Era. I thought you would dress him up, so I didn't dress him up. I'm wearing Kuiner, I'm wearing it. I thought you put it on him, but I didn't pay attention. I didn't expect you to be so unreliable. It's ruined, Gu Era. Fake Squid scolded loudly. Ah. What should we do now, brother Fake Squid? What should we do? Hurry up and run away while that woman hasn't noticed yet. Just as they finished speaking, suddenly the two of them felt a chill behind them, and a huge killing aura enveloped their bodies, as if there was a god of death watching from behind. Run! Where do you want to go? The deep and gloomy voice rang out, and the two of them were instantly frightened. They hugged each other tightly, trembling and sweating profusely. Turning around with difficulty, with an awkward smile on their face, their expression seemed even more uncomfortable than crying, and they were too scared to speak, their mouths trembling all the time. You two damn guys, didn't I tell you that if you want to send my son away, you must ask me? And I've also repeatedly told you to wear combat clothes for him, and if you don't wear combat protective clothes for my son, it's okay. At least you should also wear shorts for him. You two damn bastards, go to hell. Ha! After speaking, Melas, in a fit of anger, raised his hand to Gu Era and Fake Squid, creating an energy wave. Touch! With a loud bang, smoke and dust rose everywhere, and the two were suddenly blown out. Ah! We didn't mean it. As they passed away, two mournful screams came from their bodies. Looking at the planet Vegeta as it drifts away. Qin Yan suddenly felt a cool sensation under his body, so he looked under him. Wachow, I'm actually naked. The scene before him left him a bit stunned. The true Dupang rises with the wind one day, soaring up 90,000 miles. The ancients truly did not deceive me. Ding! The system has completed loading. The strongest Check.in system in the heavens has been successfully bound. The system is officially launched. Host. Qin Yan. As he was stunned, a beautiful and ethereal mechanical sound came to Qin Yan's mind. When cheats come, I'll just say, how could it be possible for today's time travelers to not have cheats? Chapter 3. The strongest Check.in system in the heavens. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The strongest Check.in system in the heavens took 134 hours to load this time. Ding! The host has an opportunity to sign in today. Are you sure you want to sign in? A series of mechanical prompts echoed in Qin Yan's mind. Wipe. The original system had already arrived 6 days ago, and I believe it is highly likely to be related to the system. Stop. 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 Take your time and first introduce what functions the system has. The host does not need to make a sound, just silently recite in their mind to connect with the system and complete commands. As the name suggests, this system is a Check.in and clock-in system that can be checked in once a day, with generous rewards for each Check.in. The rewards are closely related to the host's personal performance in the previous day. What is personal performance? In general, this system is called the strongest Check.in system in the heavens. Our goal is to cultivate the host to become the strongest existence in the heavens, so as not to tarnish the reputation of this system. As long as the host does not play rotten, salted or fished, the Check.in rewards will naturally be abundant. Swoka. Understood. Qin Yan roughly understood. Ding! The host has an opportunity to sign in today. May I ask if they have checked in? At this moment, the system's Check.in prompt sounded again. Yes. Sign in. Hurry up and sign. Ding! Sign in successful. This is the first sign in, and the host is about to receive the first signed gift package. As Qin Yan's hurried words fell, a successful system Check.in prompt followed. Ding! Congratulations to the host for winning the Check.in prize. Taisha Chaos Creation Dao Xian Jin Miao Ju Gong, 1 Chaos Xuanji Ring, and 100 Immortal Beans. Reminder to the host that the rewards for Check.in will be stored in the item bar, and the host can go to view and retrieve them. With the prompt from the system, a screen suddenly appeared in Qin Yan's mind. Qin Yan saw on the screen a few large characters on the top of the strongest Check.in system in the heavens shining brilliantly. Afterwards, on the left is some personal information, and on the right is the item placement column for self Check.in. Host. Qin Yan, also known as Hukuros in Saya, age 3.5 years old. Combat power 5 points. Technique Tai Shi Chaos Creation Dao Xian Jin Miao Ju, not yet learned, martial arts. Currently unavailable. Comprehensive evaluation. Battle 5 Scum item. Tai Shi Chaos Creation Dao Mysterious Technique, Chaos Mysterious Mechanism Ring, Immortal Bean *100. The 2 items on the item list, Tai Shi Chaos Creation Dao Mysterious Technique and Chaos Mysterious Ring, emit a colorful and dazzling light. At first glance, they are different from each other, while the immortal beans appear ordinary and unremarkable. Not to mention that this design is a bit silver-like. Looking at what he had signed in with, he should have been happy, but Qin Yan's eyebrows furrowed slightly at the moment. He still wanted to sign in and get some items to enhance his strength. When I heard about the first signing, I was wondering if the items I signed in for the first time would be very generous, such as directly increasing my strength and combat power by 100 billion plus Super Saiyan 4 or Super Saiyan God, and the requirements were not high. But none of these, okay. Perhaps my own expectations are too high, which is a bit unrealistic. But something slightly inferior is also acceptable. What kind of spiritual tree fruit? Don't have too many. Just have 10 or 8 of them, and there is still potential for development. A treatment course is also acceptable. However, none of these things have happened. As someone who has already been fighting against 5 scumbags, the most urgent need at this moment is to improve their own strength as much as possible, so as to have the ability to protect themselves and survive. These few things are not only useful for fairy beans, but the other 2 look very tall, but they don't seem to have much use no matter how they look. For the Dragon Ball world. What kind of trouble is it to give oneself a martial arts book and a ring? What is the use of a martial arts book in this world? This is not a fantasy cultivation world. What is the difference between this and an ordinary book? Do you want to become a great scholar like Wu Fan in this world? There's also a ring, don't mess with it. With only 3 years old, I'm still 100 or 8,000 miles away from the age of marriage. Even if I have intentions, Kuan-gu won't allow it. Sigh, Qin Yan sighed. Isn't this a pit, father? The strongest check that IN system in the heavens. That's it. Hee hee. Indeed, the world is treacherous, and people's hearts are not ancient. However, no matter what, it's better than nothing. Fairy beans are also quite good. At least they can save lives when they are about to die. The Dragon Ball warrior climbed back from the brink of life and death several times with the help of fairy beans, and even eating one can withstand hunger for more than 10 days when there is nothing to do. Xian Do is a major bug-level item in Dragon Ball, with extremely strong recovery power. As long as a person is not dead, even if there is only 1 breath left, they can recover their physical strength and energy in the shortest time possible in extreme fatigue, almost instantly, and adjust their body to the best state. When fighting against enemies, as long as there are enough fairy beans, it is equivalent to having unlimited physical strength and energy, completely standing invincible, even better than a powerful Maru. If Dragon Ball warriors had enough fairy beans, those bosses in the later stages would not be so difficult to fight. Unfortunately, the parameters of fairy beans are low, and the cultivation time cost is extremely high. It is not possible to grow a few in a year. In the early stages, there were quite a few, but they were all consumed by Yakiluo Beihua. This guy was eaten as a meal and delivered one by one to his mouth. When Qin Yan watched the anime, he wanted to kill this guy, which made it difficult to find a fairy bean in the later stages. Does the system and the ring have any special effects? Can I practice martial arts in the Dragon Ball world? With only a glimmer of hope in his heart, Qin Yan asked himself a question, unsure if the system would answer him. After all, with his 10 years of experience as an old bookworm, he rarely answered every sign in document he read. Answer. It is possible to practice martial arts, and anything that comes from the system is useful to the host. Although the world's strength is good, the martial arts inheritance system is still not complete. Most creatures' cultivation methods are nothing more than exploring and moving forward on their own, or seeking martial arts masters to learn martial arts experience, knowledge, and skills. Through basic physical exercise, the body can enhance qi and blood, and slowly progress through evolution and transformation. Practicing martial arts can allow oneself to see a broader realm, elevate the previously limited space for growth, and avoid many detours on the path of cultivation. Powerful cultivation techniques directly point to the fundamental rules of the universe, becoming immortals and gods, and the profound Tao. If the rules are an equation, then the cultivation techniques are the optimal and complete steps to solve this equation. Chaos Mysterious Ring. Complementary to the cultivation method, it forms a space inside that can store living creatures. The specific purpose of the ring can be known by the host after use. After practicing the cultivation method, leave a spiritual mark on the ring and it can be used. If you do not practice the Chaos Creation Tao mysterious technique of Taisha, you cannot recognize the master or use it. After a series of systematic answers, Qin Yan suddenly realized and was ecstatic. It turned out that these two things were truly treasures. It's because I have no eyes, my vision is narrow. Chapter 4. Rapid Development of Strength. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This is like a nuclear bomb, you know its existence, but you don't know the methods and things needed to develop it. Similarly, if you want to become stronger, you also know that cultivation is necessary, but how to become stronger and develop powerful power through cultivation requires skills and methods. At this level, cultivation can provide you with a perfect solution idea. Practice and cultivate the essence, qi, and spirit. The cultivation method teaches you how to continuously strengthen and operate the qi in your body, effectively enhance your own qi, and control the flow and control of qi. Successful cultivation can lead to the formation of a complete system of heavenly circulation in the body, with a systematic flow of energy and a never-ending origin, allowing one to reach the supreme state of unity. Later, Qin Yan watched the introduction of the mysterious formula of the Taisha Chaos Creation Tao. The strongest martial arts of all heavens, surpassing all other martial arts. The heavenly mechanism is invisible, unpredictable, the Great Way is invisible, and cannot be traced. Practicing it is not limited by the cycle of time and space, transcending the law of cause and effect, and standing outside the realm of emptiness and destiny. A tone that surpasses everything, but I like it. Does the meaning of this sentence, the heavenly mystery is invisible, that it obscures the heavenly mystery and the heavenly Tao cannot be inferred? The road is invisible and cannot be traced. Does it mean that the Tao cannot perceive and cannot trace its own source? Unexpectedly not bound by the cycle of time and space and the fate of causality, it is truly terrifying, such a terrifying martial art. It's really a little cow flying a plane, the cow is driving to the sky. Feeling the power of the Taisha Chaos Creation Tao Xian Zhen Miao Ju, Qin Yan was extremely shocked and couldn't wait to start practicing immediately. But in order to prevent accidents, it is also necessary to restrain one's excitement and prepare. First, adjust one's state, and after taking a fairy bean, it is not too late to practice, not less than these 1 or 2 minutes. The first time of cultivation is often the most important, and Qin Yan is afraid that if he suffers from hunger during the practice due to too long a time, it will not be worth the loss. After admiring the vast and beautiful starry sky, I finally found peace in my mood. After getting ready, Qin Yan took out the immortal beans and ate one. The taste was good, so he began to hold his breath and concentrate, deeply understand the sea, communicate with the system, and read through the true secret of Taisha chaos creation and began to practice. At the moment of flipping through the technique, countless mysterious golden runes flew out of it, traversing the sea of consciousness and flowing into the flesh. Consciousness is guided by mysterious runes, and the mind is constantly clear. Finally, in the hazy chaos, the illusory pupils slowly open, emitting towering beams of light, stirring the entire chaos and breaking through the vast chaos. Evolving into the true consciousness Soul Sea, the Taiyin Sun appears suspended above the Soul Sea, and mysterious golden runes fill the entire Soul Sea. The chaotic power of creation tugs at the Soul Sea, causing it to surge wildly. A strange image rises, and soon a 10,000 zhang platform stands out in the Soul Sea, which is called the Daoji Lotus Platform. The vision was not yet complete, and around the Lotus Platform, a white jade-like radiance shone in the Soul Sea, as if there was vitality, rhythmically beating. Not long after, I saw a sudden burst of white light, ripples in the Soul Sea, chaotic green lotus blossoms one after another, surrounded by immortal light, and the sound of the great road lingering endlessly. The ultimate power of creation converges on the Daoji Lotus Platform, giving birth to chaotic primordial beings, emitting a rainbow of radiance. The ancient mysterious runes in the physical body emit bursts of golden light, passing through the body, 5 organs and 6 organs, and bone meridians. Every day's movement makes Qin Yan feel extremely comfortable, and his entire spirit and energy are much clearer. I can clearly feel that the 5 organs, 6 viscera, bones, and meridians have become much more resilient. Not only does this make the whole body's qi and blood more prominent, becoming even more vibrant, containing infinite vitality, flowing like stormy waves between blood vessels. The heart beats strong and powerful, and a bright red light emanates from the chest, fluctuating with the beating of the heart. The faint energy breath that was originally hidden in the body was also pulled out, and with the rhythm of the mysterious rune, it washed over and over again throughout the body. With the continuous rotation of each day, the energy and breath become more and more powerful, like a real dragon soaring through the chaotic void. The body has waves of mysterious sounds, infinite mysteries, unparalleled creations, as mysterious as the chaos of the Taisha. The rules of the Tao are popular among the body's Tao treasures. 12,009,600 small Zhou days became one big Zhou day. 10 days later, Qin Yan completed 30.6 big Zhou days, and 1 month later, Qin Yan completed 365 big Zhou days. In this cycle of continuous cultivation, Qin Yan's strength is steadily increasing. The Milky Way flows and the stars move, time quietly and hastily flows through the cracks of the fingers. 4 months passed in a blink of an eye. On this day, Qin Yan suddenly woke up from his practice and was about to arrive at his destination, the planet Prodaranafalk, shortly after, due to a warning sound from the spaceship. This forced him to interrupt his practice. Of course, even if Qin Yan does not deliberately cultivate, the cultivation methods will still operate on their own, and the true power in his body will also operate according to the number of days in the week. His strength is constantly increasing, but the effect is slightly worse than that of serious cultivation. Hu. Qin Yan took a deep breath, a milky white force overflowed from the corner of his mouth, and then stretched lazily. Then he clenched his immature fist and carefully felt the powerful power inside his body. The vast true power was as deep as the ocean, and it was the result of 4 months of cultivation. If you compare the qi with a combat power of 5 before cultivation to the current one, then your current combat power should reach over 10,000 points. Qin Yan smiled slightly at the corner of his mouth and silently thought to himself that his cultivation in the past few months had made him very satisfied, and his strength had improved rapidly, at least giving him the ability to protect himself in a short period of time. I am also full of confidence for this trip to the planet Prodaranafalk. After awakening the system and practicing martial arts, Qin Yan temporarily interrupted his idea of going to Earth and Namek. In the past few months, he signed in and obtained enough things for his own cultivation and development for a long time. There is no need to waste time searching for ways to go to Earth. There will be opportunities in the future, and the most important thing now is to work hard to improve our strength and face the Vegeta planetary crisis 5 years later. Although Qin Yan has no emotional attachment to the planet Vegeta and is not particularly fond of the Saiyan people, he still has his parents for this lifetime. The hurdle in his heart is ultimately difficult to overcome and he cannot ignore. Qin Yan does not care about others, but at least he must save his own parents and have a clear conscience. Drop. 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 The spacecraft is about to arrive on the planet Prodaranafalk and will enter the planet's atmosphere in 20 minutes. Please prepare for landing. The crisp mechanical sound indicates that Qin Yan's adventure in the world is about to begin. Chapter 5. Prodaranafalk Planet. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ding. The check.in count has been refreshed today. May I ask if the host has checked in? Suddenly, the sound of the system rang in my mind, indicating the arrival of a new day's check.in reward. Sign in. Without hesitation, Qin Yan decisively checked in. Ding. Successful check.in, congratulations to the host for obtaining the skill. Turtle Sec Qigong. Hush. Qin Yan took a cold breath and didn't expect it to be the Turtle Sec Qigong, a unique skill of the Turtle Immortal. Go Kong used the tail's ultimate move all the way, killing all directions in the Dragon Ball, and instantly capturing the air and achieving full effects when dealing with waves. A bit unexpected, I didn't expect the check.in reward to be so good today, because since the first signing, there haven't been many valuable things in the past few months. Most of them were fairy beans, which was quite pleasant at first, but after signing in more, he became indifferent, leading to him eating more and more fairy beans. Apart from Xiando, even some daily necessities Qin Yan has signed in, and the clothes on his body are the ones he signed in with. Of course, there are also good things, such as the set of equipment under the clothes, the gravity suit. As the name suggests, it can directly apply gravity to Qin Yan's body equipment. A set of intelligent equipment that can adjust the gravity multiple at will, with a minimum of 1 time and an upper limit of 300 times the gravity multiple. With this set of equipment, once he disembarks from the spaceship, he can carry out long-term systematic cultivation. For the past 4 months, Qin Yan even signed in and received the ZZG Gong, which surprised him and was unbelievable. I thought my luck had exploded, but later reality poured a bucket of cold water on me. The ZZG Gong I obtained by checking in was just a fragment, and only by collecting all the fragments can I obtain the complete ZZG Gong. Surprisingly, Kengda had to gather 10,000 fragments to make up the complete ZZG Gong. In the past few months, only about 10 fragments have been collected and signed in. I don't know if it will take until Monkey Year and Horse Month to complete the collection. Although the number of fragments of ZZG Gong obtained each time he checked in varied, it was also this randomness and uncertainty that made Qin Yan extremely uncomfortable and tormented him. Sigh. You can't complain, there's nothing you can do. I can't do it yet, big brother. You can only silently bear it. Subsequently, Qin Yan clicked on the item column of Turtle Sec Qigong, and a huge amount of knowledge flooded into his mind. These are all the principles of Turtle Sec Qigong's wave generation, posture, and the method of qi operation and output. With such detailed methods and steps, Qin Yan almost instantly learned the Turtle Sec Qigong. If he wanted to fully master it, what he lacked now was an opportunity to perform experiments. This is not urgent, you can personally practice it on the planet Prodaranafalk. Qin Yan is looking forward to it very much. Currently, he has 2 skills. In addition to the newly signed Turtle Sec Qigong, there is also a skill called Chaos Infinite Wave. This is when Qin Yan practiced the first layer of the Tai Shi Chaos Creation Dao Xian Zhen Mian Ju, and the cultivation method came with exclusive skills that were specifically tailored to the cultivation method. The Tai Shi Chaos Creation Dao Xian Zhen Mian Ju has a total of 18 layers, each of which is further divided into 10 layers. Qin Yan's ability to practice the first layer of the first layer enhances his combat power by 10,000 points, demonstrating the strength of his martial arts. As long as you break through each level, your combat power will be greatly increased, and the deeper you practice, the faster your cultivation speed will become, and your strength will grow exponentially. After learning the Turtle Sec Qigong, Qin Yan's mind and spirit returned to reality. The spacecraft continued to move forward, and in no time, the planet Prodaranafalk had come into view. As the spacecraft approached the planet Prodaranafalk in view became clearer and larger. That's right, the first impression that the planet Prodaranafalk gave Qin Yan was that it was big. Standing in front of it was like a drop in the ocean, and ants looked up at elephants. Visually, it was probably much larger than Earth. At the same time, a huge sense of oppression also struck Qin Yan, which was not a sense of suppression in terms of strength, but an inexplicable sense of awe that arose from the bottom of his heart. This is a very beautiful planet. From space, most of the planet appears blue, like a sphere emitting blue light, with a similar beauty to Earth. Qin Yan speculates that it should be the ocean, and it seems that most of this planet is also covered by water. According to the Saiyan database on the spacecraft, the diameter of the planet Prodaranafalk is 60,000 kilometers, while the diameter of Earth is only 12,756 kilometers, nearly 5 times that of Earth. Approximately 31% of the planet's surface is composed of continents and islands. The remaining 69% is covered by water, most of which is covered by oceans, bays and other special salt water bodies, as well as rivers and lakes and other fresh water bodies, which together form a huge hydrosphere. The main components of a planet's atmosphere are nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, water, etc. The composition ratios vary depending on time and location. Greenhouse gases play an important role in regulating surface temperatures, with a surface temperature of 18 degrees Celsius. The distribution of atmospheric density is uneven, with the highest density at sea level and gradually decreasing upwards thereafter. The rotation period of the planet Prodaranafalk is 24 hours, which is equivalent to a stellar day. The rotation period around the star is about 365 days. Apart from the difference in rotation speed and revolution speed compared to Earth, the planetary period is not much different. Countdown to entering the planet's atmosphere, please be prepared. 10-9-8. The mechanical sound rang out again, and the spacecraft's intelligence system began a series of operational instructions to prepare for the final safe landing. As the countdown came to an end, the spacecraft also swayed slightly, indicating that it had entered the planet's atmosphere. As the spacecraft rapidly descended, Qin Yan could clearly see through the protective cover that a transparent air wall had formed around the spacecraft, as well as a faint flame generated by the intense friction between the spacecraft and the air. After this continued for a while. Touch. A collision sound sounded, and the spacecraft successfully landed. Chapter 6. Takeout. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the Qin Yan spacecraft entered the planet's atmosphere. The scene arrives on the planet Prodaranafalk. An inconspicuous and remote place, there is a small village here. Not far from this small village, in the sky about 10 kilometers to the west, a fierce battle is currently erupting. There were two figures fiercely clashing in mid-air, and the electric light and flint produced at the collision were visible to the naked eye. The sound was like thunder coming from a collision of clouds, and the two figures swiftly traversed the sky. It was difficult for ordinary people to grasp with their naked eyes, only hearing their sound but not their form. When the two figures appeared, a human was struggling to resist the sharp claws of a humanoid monster 4 or 5 meters tall in front of him with a giant sword. At this moment, human beings are already covered in bloodstains and scars, with cold sweat streaming down their foreheads, rapid breathing, and chaotic breathing. It seems like they are at the end of their strength, and they may not be able to hold on for long before they are defeated. The humanoid monster he was fighting against had a pair of broad wings, blue skin, red long hair scattered on his shoulders, a terrifying face resembling a bat, and a pair of vampire-like fangs exposed on his lips, making him look like a demon. The monster also looked disheveled, covered in thick scars, with green blood constantly gushing out from the wound and gasping for breath in its mouth. Obviously, it had also suffered some minor injuries, but it was much better than humans. One person and one demon are confronting each other like this, competing for the ultimate strength, and it depends on who can't hold on first. Buzz. 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 Suddenly, there were roars coming from a distance in the sky, growing louder and louder from far to near. Suddenly, one person and one monster turned their heads and looked towards the horizon where the sound came. In no time, two huge fireballs shot out of the clouds and were rushing towards the place where they were fighting at an extreme speed. As soon as the fireball was about to collide with them, the entangled individuals and monsters quickly withdrew, pulled themselves apart, and maintained a relatively safe distance. After the two of them distanced themselves, the fireball also passed through them at this moment. If it were any later, they might have been hit by the fireball. Just kidding, not to mention them at this moment, even in a period of complete victory, being hit and not killed is still a disability. After crossing several hills, two fireballs finally smashed into the nearby jungle, causing smoke and dust to rise and accompanied by two loud noises. Each person stared at the noise coming from the jungle with strange eyes, feeling a bit confused and lost in place. They couldn't figure out what was going on, and each had their own thoughts. At the same time, they also retained a hint of vigilance towards the other party, afraid of a sudden attack. At this moment, the monster suddenly took a challenge and flashed towards the human, spreading its wings and vigorously patting it towards him. Suddenly, the human was like a kite with a broken string, falling rapidly towards the ground, leaving a deep pit in his body covered in gravel and dust, unaware of his life or death. When the monster suddenly attacked him, he also noticed it, but the cost of the battle was too high just now, and he was seriously injured. It was not easy to stabilize his body. The speed of the monster made it impossible for him to react and he was knocked away. After filming the human, the monster quickly flew towards the direction of the jungle, regardless of whether it was dead or alive. The air pressure has been adjusted and the cabin door is about to be opened. A sound rang out from the spacecraft that had landed steadily. Click. With a sound, the spaceship hatch slowly opened. Qin Yan tidied up his figure, stood up, and slowly floated out of the cabin. As for why they can fly, not to mention that the high-tech of the Saiyan people has brought various combat skills and dance techniques into the depths of their original consciousness. Just in the past few months of cultivation, their mastery of Qi has already reached a level of perfection, making it easy for them to float. Qin Yan, who arrived outside the cabin, stood on the familiar ground and took a deep breath of fresh air, feeling incredibly comfortable. This long space flight is almost suffocating him. If he hadn't practiced, Qin Yan wouldn't know how to spend these few months. Wow! As Qin Yan was sighing, a burst of crying suddenly came over. Walking towards the direction of crying, in another deep pit next to the spaceship, in a spaceship like Qin Yan, there is a small Saiyan girl crying loudly at this moment. Seeing this, Qin Yan quickly went down and picked her up from the spaceship. Feeling moved, the little girl opened her eyes soaked in tears, took a dazed look, and then burst into tears, restlessly twisting her body as if resisting Qin Yan. This operation left Qin Yan at a loss and extremely headache, and she couldn't let her ignore it here. She had no choice but to silently endure it. The commotion caused by the landing of the spaceship and the crying of the little girl inevitably led to some things rushing over. To prevent accidents, Qin Yan prepared to evacuate the area first. Later, Qin Yan packed the spaceship and threw it into the Chaos Mysterious Ring. Since he practiced the Tai Shi Chaos Creation Dao Xian True technique, he has left a spiritual imprint on the ring to recognize the master, so it can also be used now. After finishing all of this, Qin Yan was ready to fly away. Suddenly, he felt a strong breath approaching quickly, and soon it appeared above them. It is a tall and powerful monster with red hair and a pair of wings. Watching the strange monster suddenly appear, Qin Yan carefully examined it and found himself seriously injured, with a chaotic and unstable aura. In an instant, the monster's strength was determined. At this moment, its combat power was around 150 points, and during the period of complete victory, it was around 240 points. Qin Yan did not take this strength seriously. It seems that it should have been an unwelcome guest upon hearing the sound, but it wanted to see what it wanted to do. At that moment, the monster suddenly spoke up. "Hey! Little ghost, did something fall here just now?" "Well, no," Qin Yan replied, "as for why I can understand, without explanation, Hi.Tech has nothing to say." "What? No, don't lie to me. If I find out you've lied to me, I'll eat you in minutes," the monster quickly threatened Qin Yan. "Demon King. Just you. Hee hee. Don't joke." Qin Yan didn't take his words seriously at all. "Really not, if you don't believe it, you can see for yourself," Qin Yan shrugged nonchalantly after looking around. Suddenly, the demon's gaze fell on the little girl in Qin Yan's hand, and it felt an extremely strong breath of life from this little guy. "I can't believe that a human-like child can have such a strong aura, which is unusual at first glance. If I eat him, I will definitely enhance my own strength." Jia. 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 Watching it, I suddenly let out a terrifying laugh, which made me shiver. Watching the monster Qin Yan suddenly cry without tears, he was stunned. Why did he suddenly cry? He smiled awkwardly, feeling a bit confused. "Isn't that right? It's just a matter of not having it, isn't it? Don't be so disappointed. Why did you suddenly start crying?" After the strange laughter ended, the monster's gaze towards Qin Yan and his companions suddenly became abnormal, filled with a greedy and bloodthirsty aura, and saliva was almost flowing out of its mouth. Qin Yan could tell that it was not crying, but had started to think about them. "Hee hee." Qin Yan sneered and smiled, "You haven't died before. Hey! Little devil, give the little thing in your hand to this demon king, and I can spare your life." At this moment, the demon king arrogantly said, completely ignoring Qin Yan. In its eyes, Qin Yan is no different from ordinary human children, with no strong and dangerous aura like ants, which poses no threat to it at all. "Is she?" Qin Yan looked at the little girl in his hand and responded. "Yes." "No way. Very good, you understand very well." "Ha! What are you saying? Say it again." Before he could finish speaking, the demon king suddenly came to his senses, as if he couldn't believe what he had heard. The little ghost actually refused him. "I said no," Qin Yan said again, afraid it wouldn't hear clearly. "Damn little devil, you actually made fun of me, the demon king. You successfully angered me, and I decided to eat you all together." The demon king, who received a response, was immediately furious, feeling that his demon king had lost all his authority. After saying this, he rushed towards Qin Yan and the others, intending to eat them both in one breath. Watching the monster rushing towards him, Qin Yan stood still in place. The demon king thought that Qin Yan was scared by his own aura, so scared that he couldn't move anymore. With a proud expression on his face, he suddenly accelerated his attack. Just as he was about to succeed, Qin Yan suddenly disappeared in place. The demon, who had no time to react, pounced empty and plunged his face into the soil, falling into a pile of dog poop. When it got up, it had already eaten the dust on its face and didn't care about anything else. It quickly looked around to see Qin Yan's figure, but it couldn't believe that it had mishandled. "Hey! What are you doing?" Suddenly, a strange voice sounded from behind, and the demon king was startled. He quickly jumped into the distance, looking at Qin Yan with a wary expression. "It's too eerie." The demon king couldn't figure out why Qin Yan suddenly came behind it. The scariest thing was that he didn't feel anything at all. "Well, what's wrong, the great demon king? Didn't you threaten to eat us? Why did you suddenly get scared?" Qin Yan sneered at the situation. "To deal with you, just one finger is enough." Qin Yan then extended another finger and said to the monster who claimed to be the demon king. "It is tolerable, which one cannot tolerate. Born as a demon, I have never suffered such humiliation, and besides, I am a weak human ant that I usually look down upon. Roar. So the Demon King let out a roar, his whole body's demonic energy surged, and he once again attacked Qin Yan with a fierce attack. Too slow. Qin Yan said as he watched the Demon King launch another attack. And facing the fierce attack of the Demon King, Qin Yan always responded with one finger from beginning to end. No matter how strong the attack of the Demon King Ren is, it cannot shake Qin Yan at all, and his body has never moved. This is clearly playing with the Demon King. Forget it, stop playing. That's it, Qin Yan said suddenly after getting tired of playing for a long time. Upon hearing this, the Demon King was stunned for a moment, and then felt a distant pain in his abdomen. It turned out to be a heavy blow from Qin Yan. Wow! With a sound. A mouthful of bitter water spat out from the Demon King's mouth, causing his massive body to retreat in succession. Eventually, he couldn't support himself and knelt heavily on his knees, struggling to support himself with both hands. He looked up with a fearful expression and stared at Qin Yan floating in front of him. What's going on here? It can't believe that this seemingly ordinary human child has such terrifying strength. It feels that even during its perfect victory, it is not a match for the child in front of it. You shouldn't provoke me, Qin Yan said as he looked at the Demon King in front of him. He slowly lifted his tender palm and stopped a foot in front of his forehead. Subsequently, Qin Yan's momentum suddenly surged, and a dazzling light wave shot out from his palm, instantly enveloping the Demon King's entire body. No. In endless unwillingness, the Demon King dissipated between heaven and earth, and it never expected to die in the hands of a human-like child like this. Who? After solving the Demon King, Qin Yan let out a breath. It seems that the force was too strong. Qin Yan couldn't help but sigh as he looked at the long ravine he had blasted out in front of him, with no grass growing and the slopes behind him being blasted off. Forget it, let's leave first. Otherwise, I don't know what kind of moth will emerge. Afterwards, Qin Yan glanced sideways at his back, intentionally or unintentionally. The reason is that there is a figure standing not far behind Qin Yan. It is the humans who fought against the Demon King before. As soon as he arrived, he saw an unforgettable scene that left him completely stunned. With his mouth wide open, his chin was about to fall to the ground, and his protruding eyeballs were about to fall out. Is it a dream for someone like me who can't even defeat them with all their might and might, to be fooled by a child's move? Is the world so crazy? Qin Yan had already noticed his existence and didn't take him to heart when he didn't take any action, as long as he didn't provoke himself. Once he had any abnormalities, Qin Yan immediately extinguished him. Regardless of him, Qin Yan took the little girl and flew away, disappearing into the sky in the blink of an eye. After Qin Yan and his companions flew away, the person suddenly regained consciousness and searched around, but their figures had long disappeared. Upon arriving at the spot to inspect, the Demon King had already vanished into ashes, leaving only a long ravine. He really wanted to catch up and see what kind of divine Qin Yan and his two were, but considering that his teammates were still uncertain at the moment, he gave up this idea. The urgent task is to rush back to his teammates, check their situation and rescue them in a timely manner, and then make plans. In no time, he returned to the place where the battle had just begun and found several teammates who were not dead, but were seriously injured and unconscious. So he picked them up and rushed back. Chapter 7. Shengzai Village. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The human powerhouse, who had not been flying for long with his teammates, met other humans head-on. The man who came shouted from afar. Hey, Lao Tai. I heard someone calling me, and the voice was very familiar. The man called Lao Tai looked up into the distance, and his swollen eyes slowly narrowed a slit. After seeing the familiar figures clearly, he responded happily, oh no. Old Ghost, Snow Dance, Guangdao. Hey, Lao Tai, what's the matter? The three people who came to see the embarrassed Lao Tai, immediately turned pale and asked about the situation. I can't die for the time being. It's just a light song. The stars and moons have fainted from their injuries and need to be treated quickly. Old Tai replied weakly. I have brought some healing potions for them to use, maintain them for the time being, and give them to us. You are badly hurt, and you should recover well first. The beautiful woman who heard the words of Snow Dance quickly took out the healing potions, and at the same time showed a peaceful light on the old Iron Men, vaguely saw that their injuries were slowly recovering. By the way, where's the Demon King? A man with a rough face suddenly asked. Demon King. The Demon King has gone nowhere. When we were fighting, a fireball vision suddenly fell from the sky. After I was defeated by the Demon King, it rushed to the place where the fireball fell. Later, when I arrived, the Demon King in the vision had disappeared. If it wasn't for this change, I was afraid you wouldn't see us. As for why Lao Tai didn't tell them that the Demon King was dead, it was because even if he said it, the teammates wouldn't believe it. If it wasn't for what he saw with his own eyes, who would believe that such a powerful Demon King would be killed by a child who looked only 2 or 3 years old, so he said that the change disappeared. The best thing is, as for finding those 2 children after recovery, we can see where they are. Surprisingly, there is such a thing. The Demon King realm is so powerful that even the few of you have joined forces in this way. It seems that we have underestimated the Demon King. In short, if there is nothing wrong with him, we should hurry back first, report this matter, and make plans later. Upon hearing this, the 3 of them were surprised and had no doubts. Fortunately, everyone was fine, and they breathed a sigh of relief. Okay. Then the group of people returned to their original path. In an unknown space, a magnificent and misty palace, several figures stand upright. I gathered everyone here because an exceptionally strong energy aura had just come from the lower realm, and I wanted to hear your opinions. Suddenly, a voice full of dignity and solemnity rang out in the hall, said a mysterious man sitting tall on the main seat of the hall. Suddenly, everyone looked at each other. Could it be that it was born early? Someone responded later. Impossible, I have been monitoring the seal all along and there has been no abnormality. At this moment, it has never been born. The man on the other side immediately rejected him upon hearing this. Nothing is absolute, and everyone present here is not unaware of its power. To be on the safe side, it is recommended to carefully check the seal to avoid any loopholes. Another voice sounded, and as soon as he finished speaking, everyone remained silent for a long time. Well, someone needs to go down to the world to investigate the source of energy and the truth behind the matter, and make plans early. After a moment of silence, someone said again. At this moment, a graceful figure shrouded in mist stood up, and an ethereal, sweet, and soft female voice quietly came out. Then let me go. So, it would be troublesome for the Statue of Liberty to make a trip, and there seems to be an unidentified object that just came from outside that has also landed in the source of energy. Please also investigate this matter with the Statue of Nature. Finally, it was decided by the figure of Wei and sitting upright in the main position. Yes. Lord God, the goddess of nature responded respectfully after being stunned for a moment. In the first battle of junior high school, the passage to the lower world was severely damaged. After a long period of repair, although it was already usable, it was still extremely unstable and required 3 years of preparation time. At the same time, it was necessary to communicate with the human temple to make early preparations. At this time, a man with long hair in flames spoke out and reminded. Since that's the case, then please ask the God of Wisdom to command the high priest of the human temple to prepare the altar for worship at any time, and wait for the arrival of the deity 3 years later. Okay, said the man known as the God of Wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, it may be a tumultuous autumn ahead. We hope that everyone can fulfill their duties and improve their strength as much as possible before the darkness approaches. Yes, everyone responded in the end. Not long after, they dispersed separately. From the landing of the Qin Yan spacecraft, deep in the western continent, dark clouds cover the area with lightning and thunder all year round. In this boundless desert, desolation and loneliness, filled with wind and sand, permeate this desolate and forgotten land all year round. Storms can be seen everywhere soaring into the clouds, and the sky and earth are filled with yellow sand. After passing through the desert, there is a crimson canyon with hundreds of miles of rocky terrain and towering volcanoes rising into the clouds at the end. The lakes and rivers scattered throughout the land are forever filled with hot magma, and countless purple malevolent energies are always floating in the air. Are there fierce beasts wandering in the mountains, emitting terrifying and bone-chilling screams that echo between heaven and earth? One of the peaks is exceptionally tall, with white skeletons scattered all over the mountain, and a gloomy aura permeates it, terrifying to the extreme. On the mountaintop stands a grand and eerie palace, passing through a dark and gloomy corridor. A huge round table is displayed in the center, surrounded by 10 neatly arranged seats. At this moment, all 9 seats were filled with tall and bizarre creatures. The tall creature suddenly led by him said, "Old 10 is dead." "Nanny. Old 10 is dead, what's going on? Who did it?" The demons were surprised and couldn't believe it, followed by a look of anger on their faces. "Boss, who killed Lao Shi? Could it be those old humans who took action? If they did, we must avenge Lao Shi and show them some color. Yeah. Let's fight to the death with the entire army, unify the continent, and regain the glory of our demon tribes past. Let the human ants know that we are the masters of this continent. Yeah. Order it. Boss, the army will launch an attack and directly destroy the group of ants in the human race." The demons chirped loudly. "Quiet, it's still unclear who killed Lao Shi. Revenge must be avenged. The dignity of the demon clan cannot be provoked, but we must not act recklessly. Don't ruin the recovery plan of the demon god lord." Hearing the word demon god, all the demons fell silent in an instant. In this way, the 8th and 9th will first investigate and see who killed the 10th. The remaining time will be spent collecting the energy and blood of the demonic lord's revival. When the demonic lord wakes up, it will be the time for us to unify the continent, said the demon king. Yes, boss. Then the demons retreated one after another. 2 magical shadows flew out of the demon palace and headed towards the eastern continent. Speaking of which, Qin Yan flew eastward and soon arrived at a small village not far away, where there were about 100 households. Besides humans, there seemed to be other races of people coming and going, such as the orcs and dwarves. After pondering for a while, Qin Yan plans to stay overnight here. In order to avoid causing a sensation, Qin Yan landed in a remote area outside the village and walked onto the official road to the village on foot. Help! At this moment, a crisp cry for help came from behind. Qin Yan turned around and saw a little girl running towards him, or more accurately, towards the village. There is a huge wild boar chasing her behind her. The little girl was overjoyed when she saw someone ahead, but when she saw that it was a child, she was full of disappointment. Later, Qin Yan heard her say, "Hurry up, go back to the village and ask adults for help. I didn't expect that she, who was in danger, wouldn't forget to remind others to escape. It seems that she has a good heart." Seeing Qin Yan indifferent, he thought he couldn't hear him, so he shouted loudly again to urge Qin Yan to leave quickly. In no time, she ran to Qin Yan's side and without saying a word, picked up Qin Yan's hand and prepared to run away, but how could she possibly pull Qin Yan? Unexpectedly, she fell directly to the ground. At this moment, the wild boar also rushed to their side, staring at them tightly, opening its bloodthirsty mouth and drooling all over the ground. Without giving the prey a chance to catch their breath, it tore at Qin Yan and the others. The little girl closed her eyes in despair and muttered to herself, "It's over, it's going to be eaten." At a critical moment. Shoo! With a sound. Qin Yan dodged and disappeared in place, reaching the wild boar's jaw and hooking his fist upwards. Suddenly, the wild boar was hit hard, its mouth closed and it almost bit off its tongue. Its eyeballs protruded, and its massive body was thrown into the air, hovering and rising. It was feared that it would not be able to come down for a while. "Are you okay?" Qin Yan turned his head to look at the little girl and asked in a voice after finishing the wild boar with a punch. Upon hearing the sound, there was no pain as expected. The little girl opened her eyes in confusion and looked around. The wild boar that was rushing towards her was no longer in sight, and only Qin Yan and his companions were in sight. As she was puzzled and trying to figure out what the sound was, suddenly a huge figure fell from the sky. Touch! With a loud bang, the ground cracked and dust flew in the air. A strong wind hit her face, and the little girl's thin and weak body couldn't resist being blown away for a few somersaults before finally stopping. When she got up, she sat on the ground with a bewildered expression on her face, and then burst into tears, clearly frightened. Qin Yan was speechless and couldn't help but cry. So he walked over and quickly comforted, "Okay, stop crying. It's already dead, you're okay." Upon hearing this, the little girl fixed her gaze and indeed saw the big wild boar lying motionless in the pit with all its feet facing upwards. However, she still couldn't believe it and asked with questioning, "Really? It's really dead? Did you kill it, little brother?" "Little brother." Qin Yan's face twitched, and then he felt relieved. He was only over 3 years old now, and the little girl was about a head taller than him. She looked like she should be in her teens, so no wonder she called her that. "Well, that's right, it's really dead. Don't worry," Qin Yan said seriously. After listening to the little girl, she quickly got up and patted the dust off her body. She cautiously walked towards the wild boar. When she approached it, the little girl picked up a stone on the ground and threw it at the wild boar to test if it could still move. After seeing that the wild boar really didn't react, the little girl jumped up happily and said, "Oh yeah. That's great, we were saved." Unable to relieve her anger, she walked over and kicked the wild boar a few times, venting her hatred of being chased by the wild boar for so long. After calming down, she came to Qin Yan and quickly thanked him, "Thank you, little brother. You are really amazing. You even knocked down the wild boar. How did you do it?" "It's okay, it's just a matter of taking hands." Qin Yan smiled and didn't explain how he knocked it down. For Qin Yan's words, the little girl didn't delve deeper and said excitedly, "Hee hee. Alright, thank you anyway. By the way, my name is Luo Fei, what's your name?" "Little brother." "Qin Yan, don't call me little brother anymore, it's awkward," Qin Yan replied with a strange and mysterious expression. "Oh. Alright Qin Yan little brother, by the way, what about the little sister on you? Is she your sister? She's so cute. What's her name? Where are you from? Are you going somewhere?" The little girl asked repeatedly. "That's right, her name is Leah. We've come out to practice, but we don't have a place to rest for now." "That's right, the Saiyan girl on Qin Yan's shoulder is named Leah, which she saw on the spaceship. She's already asleep now, crying and tired." "Oh. Well, let's go to our village to rest first. I'll ask my mom to thank you all well." Seeing that Qin Yan had not yet settled down, the little girl warmly invited her. "Well, that's okay, then I'll disturb you." "Oh yeah. Don't disturb me, let's go." The little girl finished speaking and walked straight towards the wild boar. In Qin Yan's puzzled gaze, she pulled the wild boar hard, but couldn't move it. Seeing this scene, Qin Yan asked in confusion, "What are you doing?" "I want to drag it back. This big wild boar is enough for our village to eat for a long time," the little girl replied with a flushed face. Seeing this, Qin Yan shook his head helplessly and walked over to the little girl, saying, "Get out of my way. You lead the way ahead." In the astonished gaze of the little girl, the wild boar was slowly dragged forward by Qin Yan's tail. Unexpectedly, with all the effort he put into nursing, he couldn't even tug at the wild boar. He was easily dragged away by Qin Yan. Is this still human? Why is there such a big gap? What are you waiting for? Let's go. Qin Yan turned around and shouted, seeing that the little girl had not moved for a long time. Oh. Here we go, Luo Zhuaniyuna replied, quickly following up. Qin Yan, are you a knight? Knight. What is that thing? Then you are a wizard. Magician. No, you can think of me as a practitioner. Oh, no wonder you're so amazing. It's okay, isn't it? After walking for a while, the little girl finally saw the village and said excitedly, "Look ahead, our village is holy." Suddenly, the two of them also quickened their pace. Chapter 8. Luo Fei. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Qin Yan and Luo Xuani were walking on the road, and from a distance, they could see that many people had already gathered at the village entrance. It's sister. Xuani sister, Xuani. At this moment, someone was shouting loudly, old and young. Oh ha! Everyone! The little girl raised her hand and greeted them excitedly, then quickly walked up. Sister, it's really sister. She's really Xian Yi. Suddenly, several children who were similar to Luo Xuani rushed forward excitedly, running and shouting continuously. You're okay. That's really great, Xian Yi. A few people hugged each other excitedly, and Luo Xuani almost burst into tears. After all, he almost couldn't see these companions just now. All right. Xuani, what's going on? Where have you been? No one can find you no matter what. Your mother is so anxious. Yeah. Xuani, it's not safe outside now. Where have you been all day? Everyone is almost worried. At this moment, some adults walked up and interrupted the affectionate little ones hugging each other, quickly questioning Luo Xuani. His demeanor was filled with care and concern. I just strolled inside the mountain for a while, the little girl hesitated and said, her voice becoming quieter and quieter as she spoke. What, you actually went into the mountain by yourself? Why are you so reckless, kid? Don't you know how dangerous the mountains are now? Adults dare not easily enter now. Why are you fooling around like a child? Looking at the worries and nervousness on everyone's faces, Luo Xuani also realized her mistake and felt very guilty. She quickly bowed and apologized, I'm sorry. I'm sorry everyone, I was wrong and made everyone worried. Alright, don't blame her anymore. Xuani, did you go into the mountain to find medicine? At this moment, the oldest old man stood up and said. The little girl said with deep affection and low spirits. Sigh. After listening, everyone fell silent and seemed to understand why the little girl sneaked into the mountain. Cough. Qin Yan coughed as he saw the atmosphere suddenly become dull. Suddenly, everyone realized that there was a stranger like Qin Yan present, so their eyes turned to Qin Yan with curious eyes. Someone said, by the way, Xuani, won't you introduce the little brother behind you? Previously, they had already noticed Qin Yan and the others. Due to the fact that everyone's attention was immediately focused on the little girl, they all went to pay attention to Luo Xuani's condition, so they did not inquire. Oh. By the way, let me introduce you to everyone. This little brother is Qin Yan, who is my life-saving benefactor. Although he looks like a child, he is really amazing. When he saw that big wild boar, it was him who knocked it down. Upon hearing this, Luo Xuani's spirit lifted and he quickly ran to Qin Yan's side, explaining excitedly to the villagers. It's really fake. Don't lie to us, how could he be so young? Everyone's eyes widened, their faces full of disbelief. Such a young child could knock down a wild boar that was over 10 meters tall. Si Gui, so impressive. The children were even more impressed by the stars in their eyes, with a look of admiration on their faces. Of course it's true, as you've all seen. Just now, Qin Yan was the one dragging the big wild boar over by himself. He scared me to death at the time. On my way back, the big wild boar suddenly popped up, opening its bloody mouth and trying to eat me. So I ran desperately, and in a critical moment, Qin Yan appeared and saved me. He knocked down the big wild boar in a few seconds, otherwise I wouldn't have seen you now. The little girl said seriously when she saw everyone's surprised and questioning expressions. Seeing that Luo Fei had said so, everyone believed what she had said. Immediately, their eyes were filled with shock, and they surrounded Qin Yan, staring at him tightly like watching a giant panda, as if trying to see him through. Haha. Hello everyone. Seeing this situation, Qin Yan scratched his head and awkwardly said. Oh no. Don't do this, everyone. You see, they've already arrived. Luo Fei saw everyone turning around Qin Yan and quickly came out to relieve the siege. Haha, can't help it, little one, I hope you don't mind. At this moment, everyone also realized their mistake and smiled awkwardly. Haha. It's okay, Qin Yan politely replied, also expressing understanding. After all, it was a bit shocking for them. By the way, Qin Yan, this is our village chief Grandpa Fu. Luo Fei introduced Qin Yan to the oldest old man. Hello, village chief. Hello. Children, where did you come from? How did you get here? Do you have any plans for the future? We sneaked out of home and got lost in the jungle, so we don't have any other place to go for now. Qin Yan told a lie he didn't even believe, and it didn't matter whether they believed it or not. Oh, that's quite pitiful. You can stay with us for the time being, and it's not too late for you to leave when your relatives are all here. If you have any needs, feel free to mention them to us, and we will do our best to help you. It's obvious that the village chief has seen Qin Yan's lie, but he hasn't exposed it. He thinks that if someone as powerful as Qin Yan wants to harm them, he has already taken action. He believes that there is nothing in this impoverished village that would interest Qin Yan. That's right. You don't have to be polite. The villagers are all very talkative and hospitable. Seeing the village chief doing so, everyone agreed and said. Well, okay, thank you all, then I'll disturb you. This is Zhang Mama, second auntie, fourth uncle, Uncle Sith. Then Luo Xian introduced the adults to Qin Yan one by one, and Qin Yan politely replied. This is Xiaobei. Hello, little brother, the little girl named Xiaobei said in a soft voice. Hello. Qin Yan responded with a soft expression on his face. This is Luo Fei, my younger brother. Finally, Luo Fei said impatiently. Why is that so? The reason is that when Luo Fei introduced himself to everyone, this guy was eagerly bouncing around on the side, seemingly wanting his sister to introduce him first. It seems that he is also an restless master. Hello, Qin Yan, you're amazing. You can even defeat such a big wild boar. How did you cultivate it? Can you teach me how to cultivate? I also want to become as powerful as you. Seeing his sister finally say something about him, Luo Fei quickly jumped out and said. Adoration, envy, and fiery gaze carry endless longing and anticipation. Luo Fei, don't cause trouble. Qin Yan doesn't have time to deal with you. Your idle and reckless appearance is not suitable for cultivation, Luo Fei suddenly said. Sister, I'm not just fooling around. I'm practicing very seriously. I'm a man who wants to become a king knight. Seeing his sister say this to him, Luo Fei's face turned red and he quickly defended himself. Mud horse. Qin Yan was a bit confused by this familiar line. Isn't this the catchphrase of the Sea King? Again, I don't know how many times I've said this good thing. For this situation, Luo Fei seemed to have become accustomed to it. What I said is true. Alright. 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 You're the man who wants to become a king knight, no matter what. Finally, the little girl said helplessly. Why do you want to become stronger? Qin Yan couldn't help but ask as he looked at Luo Fei, who seemed eager to become stronger. Qin Yan, don't worry about him, he's just like this on a regular basis. It's okay, practicing requires passion, and that's not a bad thing. I want to become stronger, protect my sister, protect everyone, protect the village, Luo Fei suddenly shouted loudly. After Luo Fei finished speaking, everyone's expressions shook, and Luo Xuani's body trembled even more, not knowing what he was thinking. Okay, if you have time, I'll teach you 2 moves. Qin Yan smiled when he heard this. Although it was a line from a bad street, he was really an interesting little guy. Really? Oh yeah. That's great, that's great. You must teach me when you have time. Suddenly, Luo Fei jumped up excitedly. Qin Yan affirmed again. Upon seeing the situation, Luo Xian didn't say anything anymore this time. It was obvious that Luo Fei's words had also touched his mood. Alright, everyone, don't stand here anymore. Let's talk about it when we enter the village. Don't neglect the guests, the village chief stood up and said, quickly ending this little episode. Chapter 9. Xiaobei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under the leadership of the old village chief, a group of people walked into the village chief with laughter and conversation. On the way, people couldn't help but feel curious and asked Qin Yan various questions. Most of them were still curious about why Qin Yan was so powerful at a young age. Not long after entering the village, I saw a middle-aged woman rushing towards me in a distant alley, shouting loudly as she ran, Ear! Ear! Mom! Mom! It turned out to be Luo Xuani's mother. Seeing his mother rushing towards him, Luo Xuani's eyes were hazy with tears. The tears in his eyes finally couldn't hide and flowed down at this moment, even his voice was choked up. Unable to hold back any longer, Luo Xuani flew straight into her mother's arms and couldn't help but burst into tears. Alright, stop crying, as long as it's okay. The middle-aged woman tightly hugged Luo Xuani, watching her trembling and crying body. She gently patted Luo Xuani's back with her broad hands and comforted him with a soft tone to soothe her anxiety and fear. I'm sorry, Mom. I shouldn't have run into the mountains alone without your back. I didn't find the medicine to treat my dad, and it made you worried. After speaking, Luo Xuani, who had been crying for a long time, finally slowly let go of her mother and lowered her head like a mistaken child, waiting for her scolding. Silly child. It's okay, Mom understands your feelings. As long as you come back safely, it's good. Don't do foolish things again in the future. If you have any more ups and downs, what should we do? The woman smiled at her and said in a gentle voice. Then he gently wiped away the tears from the corners of Luo Xuani's eyes with a pair of calloused hands. I'm sorry, Mom. I won't do it again in the future. Feeling the infinite care from my parents, Luo Xuani firmly said in order to no longer make them worry. Well, this is the good child. By the way, Mom. This is Qin Yan, he saved me on the way. At this moment, Luo Xuani introduced Qin Yan to her mother again and also recounted the situation just now. Her mother also repeatedly thanked Qin Yan for this. Seeing that Qin Yan was going to settle in Shengzai village, she quickly invited Qin Yan to stay at their house. However, there was also a warm invitation from Luo Xuani and his siblings, which Qin Yan couldn't resist and agreed to. Suddenly, Luo Xuani and his siblings were very happy. Qin Yan also learned from Luo Xuani's mouth her mother's name, Islamikia, and the passage of time left a lot of frost on her head. From their words and the actions of this mother, we can see her endless care for her child. This is a great mother, which makes Qin Yan feel respected. It is said that the mother's love shines brightly, hot and bright. She can melt glaciers, purify the soul, and thrive. The scene just now is nothing more than that. By the way, Luo Xuani, what are you planning to do with this wild boar? Where are you going to put it? Seeing that he had already entered the village, Qin Yan couldn't help but ask. Oh. Why don't we take it to the square and ask the village chief and his team to handle it? How about using it for a bonfire party tonight? Luo Xuani only realized when he heard Qin Yan's words. At this moment, Qin Yan was still dragging a big wild boar behind him, his face slightly turning red, and he said with some embarrassment. Oh. Alright, that's it. Upon hearing this, Qin Yan's glasses lit up and he swallowed, looking forward to the banquet. To be honest, these months of boring cultivation and flying have almost made him fade away, and he has almost forgotten the taste of meat while eating immortal beans. Although there was still nutrient solution on board the spaceship to maintain basic life, Qin Yan once sang it out, and the taste was truly admirable. Afterwards, he would rather choose to eat immortal beans than take another bite of that thing. At that time, Qin Yan still thought that the first thing after getting off the spaceship was to go and have a good meal. Xuani. You can't be unreasonable. This is Qin Yan's spoils of war. How could you ask others for it so casually? Besides, they are still your life-saving benefactor. Suddenly, the old village chief came out and scolded. Yeah. Xuani, why are you so impolite? Hurry up and apologize to them. I'm sorry, kid. This girl is used to being careless, so don't take it to heart. At this moment, Luo Xuani's mother also said, while also apologizing to Qin Yan. Upon hearing this, Qin Yan couldn't bear it anymore. He quickly spoke up and explained, "It's okay, auntie. I didn't plan to bring it with me originally. It was Xuani who said she needed it, and I helped her bring it along. You can handle it any way you want." To be honest, I also think Xuani's proposal is very good. It's best for everyone to have a lively party. Oh. Well, that's really causing you trouble. This girl always does this. Auntie, please talk about her later. No trouble, it's just a matter of hands, Qin Yan said with a smile. Mom. They don't have it. They always say that, and they won't talk to you anymore, humph. Seeing his mother say this to him, Luo Xuani couldn't help but jump out to defend himself. After saying this, the little girl arrogantly turned her head away. Ha! 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 Everyone laughed at the sight, and the girl was so cute. Since that's the case, then you can leave it here. It's been a lot of trouble for you to drag it all the way here. Let's quickly gather the people from the village to handle it well and try to finish it before dark. We'll have a good dinner tonight to celebrate your arrival, Qin Yan. Thank you for bringing such a generous gift to the village. Since Qin Yan has said so, the old village chief and his team won't say much and will do things cleanly and efficiently, immediately took action. The children went to inform the other people in the village, while the rest went to prepare for the evening bonfire banquet. At this point, only Qin Yan, Luo Xuani, and the girl named Xiaobei were left in place. Suddenly, the little girl named Xiaobei spoke up and said, "Xuani, Aunt Lanya, I should go back too." "Go back, go where, go home? Aren't you planning to attend the banquet with everyone tonight?" the mother and daughter asked in unison. I won't participate anymore. I'm afraid I'll go back too late at night, the little girl said weakly. Although she said so, everyone could see that the little girl also wanted to participate. What would she say that? This makes Qin Yan feel a bit strange. It seems that she is also a little girl with a story. What, you're not going to participate, so what's the deal? It's okay, just stay at our house tonight. You don't need to go back, it's not too late to go back tomorrow. Suddenly, Xian Yi and her daughter were shocked and quickly persuaded the little girl. But, that's too much trouble. But what, if there's anything troublesome, let's settle for it. Stay with me and you'll sleep well with Xuani tonight. Auntie's words must not be refused, otherwise Auntie will be angry. Xuani's mother pretended to be angry and said, which also made the little girl stay. Okay, okay. Thank you, Auntie, thank you, Sister Xian Yi, woo-woo. Finally, Xiaobei couldn't help but cry. Alright, why do everyone like to cry so much? It makes Auntie want to cry now, be good. If you don't cry anymore, it won't look good anymore. Seeing Xiaobei talking, Luo Xuani's mother quickly comforted her. Thank you Aunt Lanya, thank you Sister Xuani. Upon hearing this, the little girl wiped her tears and thanked her again. Okay. Let's go back first. Qin Yan, you must have been tired from all the dust along the way. Go and have a glass of water first, Auntie will boil some water for you to take a bath, and then wait slowly. Okay Auntie, then I'll trouble you. Qin Yan didn't hesitate. He really wanted to take a shower, after all, he hasn't taken a shower for 4 months. Although his metabolism has been purified by the spacecraft, Qin Yan still feels uncomfortable all over. Perhaps it is a psychological act, as no one can feel completely at ease without taking a shower for 4 consecutive months. Haha. No trouble, why are you so polite, child? You saved our Xian Yi, and we don't know how to thank you. This small matter is simply insignificant. Subsequently, everyone embarked on the road to the home of Luo Xuani. On the way, Qin Yan learned from Xuani the full name of Xiaobei, a little girl named Bei Changdan. I also learned about her story, and she is also a hard-working child. Chapter 10. Father Luo. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Bei Changdan, a cat girl from the Orc tribe, is 8 or 9 years old. She has a pair of furry blue cat ears and a pair of sky blue big eyes. She is a cute little girl with blue hair. According to Luo Xuani, she was abandoned by the ethnic group in the deep forest for some unknown reason when she was very young. One day, an old woman from the village stumbled upon her when she went up the mountain. Seeing her pitiful, she picked her up and brought her back. At first, the old lady thought that her elders had only temporarily left, but she waited in place for a long time without any movement. So the old lady brought her back. The old lady had left a message in place, hoping that when her elders came back and couldn't see the child, they could go to the village to claim it. Unfortunately, no one came to look for it for several days later. So the old lady, who was alone, raised Xiaobei as her own child. The little girl is also very sensible, knows gratitude and love, and has always regarded the old lady as her most important grandmother. Bei Changdan is kind-hearted and treats people kindly, which is deeply loved by her grandmother and the villagers. She quickly adapted to the life in the village. But the good times didn't last long. After a few years, that old lady passed away due to illness last year, and now only Xiaobei is living alone. Later, the people in the village chief were afraid that she, a lonely little girl, would not be able to organize her life alone, so they all proposed to adopt her. Even the Luo Xuani family had persuaded the little girl to live with them many times. But the little girl refused, living alone with the old lady who adopted her. Perhaps she wanted to keep the relics left by her grandmother, so she gave up the proposal from the villagers, because it was probably her only thought. Fortunately, the people in the village are all very kind, and they provide her with as much help as possible in daily life, so that she can barely maintain a living condition. Her home is located on a small hill about 1 kilometer north of the village. No wonder she wanted to go back just now. As a frail little girl, it would take a long time to walk back, and she wouldn't be able to go back alone at night. Under such difficult conditions, a person's hard-working life to this day shows how strong her mind is. She is truly an amazing little girl. Mother, where have the knights gone? Suddenly, Luo Xuani asked. They went to see fireballs. Luo Fei rushed to the side before her mother could answer. Fireball. What kind of thing? Well, Xiaofei is right. Just now, a fireball landed in the deep forest in the west, and the villagers saw it. Uncle Mu and his team all went to check. Xiaobei and Luo Fei nodded in response, indicating that they also saw the vision just now. Oh. No wonder I've been in the village for a long time and haven't seen them. I thought they had gone hunting in the mountains. Do you know what that fireball is? I don't know, we'll have to wait for your Uncle Mu and his team to come back and ask. That's it. Do you know? Qin Yan. Me. You ask me, I don't know. Can you not know? That's himself, but Qin Yan can't tell the truth. Avoiding the topic, everyone continued to move forward. On the way, Xiaobei would occasionally turn back to look at Qin Yan, which made Qin Yan feel a bit strange. He quickly touched his cheeks, but there was nothing dirty. Qin Yan shook his head and ignored, let her go. In no time, Qin Yan and his group arrived at the entrance of the courtyard of Luo Xuani's house. They walked into a small courtyard filled with various vegetables, and at the end was a 2-story wooden house. Although it was not very luxurious, it was quite unique. Qin Yan saw many families along the way, and her home was already quite good. Go through the courtyard and come to the door. Luo Xuani's mother walked ahead and pushed open the door, turning back and saying, come on in. Let's go. Go in. Qin Yan, Xiaobei, said the two siblings. Okay. Led by his mother, Luo Xian walked across the door and into the living room, where a round table was displayed in the middle. Several chairs were placed next to the table, and although the room decoration was not very exquisite, it appeared particularly warm. You sit down first, Auntie will go and boil the bath water for you. Xuani, hurry up and get some water. Pour a few cups of water for your friends. Well, okay, Qin Yan, please sit down and wait for me for a while, don't be polite. After saying that, Luo Xuani turned around and wanted to go find water. Okay. Cough cough. Cough cough. Suddenly, from the room on the second floor, there came a violent cough. As the head of the household, what's wrong with you? The sudden change made Luo Xuani's mother quickly put down her work and ran upstairs, shouting while running, with endless worries, panic, and fear in her voice. Dad! Dad! Xian Yi and her siblings quickly followed suit. Uncle! Xiaobei also chased after him. Just now was the voice of Luo Xuani's father. It seems that something has happened. Since everyone has arrived, Qin Yan decided to follow up and see what exactly happened. Arriving at a bedroom on the second floor, I saw a pale-faced, bleeding man lying on the bed. He was breathing rapidly, his eyebrows furrowed, and cold sweat kept rising from his forehead, looking very painful. There is a pool of bruises on the floor next to the bed, which seems to have just been vomited out. Master! Master, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me. Dad, how are you doing? Don't scare us. The family gathered nervously around the bed, crying bitterly and looking at the suffering strong man on the bed, nervously asking with concern. Wife, cough. I'm fine, no, don't worry, I just coughed a little, it's not a big deal. The strong man struggled to squeeze out a smile and said with a trembling voice. Child, don't cry. Dad. Dad's okay. Then the strong man gently raised his hand and caressed the heads of the two children, his voice struggling to comfort him. It's all like this, you still need to show off and rest well. Seeing her husband struggling so hard, Luo Xuani's mother quickly showed concern. Oh. Xiaobei. You. Are here too, cough cough. Thank you. Thank you for coming to visit Uncle. Come, let Uncle take a look. I haven't seen you for a while. At this moment, the strong man saw Xiaobei beside him and waved at her. Aha! Uncle, Xiaobei came to see you. It's because Xiaobei is not good. He should have come to see you earlier. Uncle, stop talking and rest well. Seeing the strong man cough again, Xiaobei quickly supported his arm and said with concern, tears streaming down his eyes no longer. Okay. Okay. Good kid, it's okay. Uncle would be very happy if you could come, cough cough. The strong man coughed again. The head of the family. Dad. Dad. Uncle. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. Dad. Wait, I'll go find the doctor right now. Luo Fei wiped her tears and got up as she walked towards the door. Touch. Ah. Luo Fei exclaimed in surprise and quickly collapsed backwards. Due to not noticing Qin Yan at the door, Luo Fei walked over and directly bumped into Qin Yan. Seeing her about to fall, Qin Yan quickly dodged behind her and helped her. Is everything okay? Luo Fei, Qin Yan asked in a voice after helping her correct herself. Ah, I'm sorry, I didn't notice. Thank you Qin Yan, I'm fine. After saying that, Luo Fei was about to leave. Wait, Luo Fei. Seeing this, Qin Yan quickly stopped her. Well, what's wrong, Qin Yan? I'm sorry, but I have an urgent matter and can't entertain you anymore. Can you wait for me? I'll be with you when I come back. It's okay, I want to ask you what's wrong with your father. Tell me, maybe I can help you. Oh. It's like this. My father was accidentally injured by a wild animal while hunting in the mountains a few days ago. The situation is a bit urgent now, and I need to go and ask a doctor to come and take a look. Thank you. Qin Yan, I know you are very capable, but you may not be able to help with this matter. Seeing Qin Yan say he wants to help himself, Luo Fei's heart warmed. However, she doesn't know if Qin Yan can handle medical treatment, and in short, she is very grateful to Qin Yan. After speaking, Luo Fei turned around and was about to leave. I have a solution. Qin Yan quickly called out to her as she turned around and was about to leave. Apart from anything else, if she was injured, Qin Yan really had a solution, and only needed a fairy bean. Qin Yan reached out his hand to his back, and suddenly a fairy bean appeared in his palm. Just as Luo Fei was about to step out, he suddenly turned around when he heard Qin Yan's words and grabbed his shoulder, excitedly asking, Do you really have a way? Qin Yan. Qin Yan opened her hand, spread out her palm, and placed a fairy bean in Luo Fei's palm. What is this? Luo Fei asked in confusion as he saw an extra green bean growing in his hand. You can call it Xian Do. It can treat body injuries with excellent results. Even if you suffer from a serious injury, as long as you have one breath left, it can help you recover as before. Really? But this should be very expensive. You just gave it to me like this. What should you do? No, I can't take it. Received upon hearing that this thing could treat her father's injury, Luo Fei was first delighted, and then surprised that Qin Yan had given her such a valuable item, which made her extremely frightened. She quickly decided to return it to Qin Yan. It's okay, there's still a lot left for me. It's important to save your father. Hurry up and give it to him to eat. Qin Yan said, afraid that she wouldn't believe it, so he took out some more from his arms. Okay. Thank you Qin Yan. You helped me once again, and I don't know how to repay you. Seeing this, Luo Fei didn't hesitate and thanked Qin Yan repeatedly. Alright, these are just a small gesture. There's nothing to thank you for. Take them over quickly. Qin Yan waved his hand helplessly. Aha! Dad! Dad! What a fairy bean! Hurry up and eat it. Qin Yan said I can cure your injury. Carrying the fairy bean, Luo Fei walked quickly to the bedside and said to her father. Yeah, hurry up and eat. As the head of the family, there might really be a miracle, Luo Fei's mother also advised. Just now, the conversation between Qin Yan and Luo Xuanyi was heard by everyone in the room. Although Qin Yan, who was rescuing his daughter, seemed like a child to Luo Mu, his words and actions exuded a sense of composure, which was clearly noticeable. Luo Mu chose to believe in the child and Qin Yan. Yeah. Dad, Qin Yan is really amazing. He knocked down the wild boar alone, said Luo Fei beside him. Aha, uncle, give it a try. Xiaobei also looked at Luo Fu with a hopeful gaze and advised him. Luo's mother had just told her father about the encounter between Qin Yan and Luo Xuanyi, so Luo Xuanyi's father also had a rough understanding of Qin Yan. He first looked at the small beans in his daughter's hand, at his wife and children, then at Qin Yan, and finally nodded and said, okay. Father Luo took the fairy beans from his daughter's hand, put them in his mouth, closed his eyes, chewed them for a while, and then swallowed them. At this moment, the air was particularly quiet, and everyone's eyes were focused on Luo Xuanyi's father, constantly paying attention to his changes. The atmosphere dared not take a breath for fear of disturbing him. Suddenly, Luo Xuanyi's father's body shook, and he saw his arms extend and legs climb. His sunken chest expanded like a spring, and his atrophied muscles rapidly expanded at a visible speed. With the constant changes, Luo Xuanyi's father even let out a few comfortable cries, and his pale face now turned red. Suddenly, Luo Xuanyi's father widened his eyes. Yahoo! After a scream, he suddenly flipped over and jumped up, stretching his fists and feet on the bed. The whole person looks energetic and radiant.